Hey, it's King McKay. Wow, episode 3 was absolutely intense. We had characters dying left and right, castles getting stormed and fallen everywhere, and shit really hitting the fan. But for now, let's cover the episode 4 preview and see what that can show us coming up for the rest of the season.
My only venture at this moment is re-establishing control over this continent and every person on it.
So it seems like the show is really trying to hammer home and continue on the plotline of the Iron Bank being introduced to this war. Now I thought it was a little bit strange that the Iron Bank was starting with Cersei, mainly because she turned them down pretty hard the first time they rocked up, refused to pay any things, and then when they finally kept pressuring her, she sent Mace Tyrell to make the deal. So the only deal they actually got was from Mace Tyrell, so technically if they were going to back anyone, it should be Mace Tyrell. Now we saw the show trying to backtrack on this, saying the slave trade was hit because of Daenerys. But if we know anything about Braavos, it's pretty anti-slavery. Like the founding of Braavos came from a whole bunch of freed slaves from Valyria escaping to Braavos. Those slaves were the ones that built up Braavos from the ground and kept it hidden from the Valyrian Empire, was very anti-slavery, can't have any slaves in Braavos. They built the Titan to protect the people from any slavers that wanted to take them, and they have a huge festival every year to celebrate their independence and freedom. So I feel like that argument really shouldn't matter to them at all, and I don't know why they're funding the slave trade. A better argument would have been using Daenerys' Valyrian roots, because Braavos hates Valyria. Braavos' entire purpose was to be a hideaway for people trying to escape the oppressive rule of those dragon lords, so that would be a lot better way to convince these bankers. Still, the Iron Bank's supposed to be notoriously going for the right side, and if you look at the pure figures, the armies, the forces, it seems like Daenerys is going to win. Like, they were the ones that originally backed Stannis against Cersei because the crown wasn't going to pay their debts. But if this storyline is going to continue on to the next episode, it's definitely going to be a big key feature around it, because if Cersei can get her hands on a lot of Iron Bank gold and fund her resources, get the lords on her side, she could be looking at not only just surviving to season 8, but actually winning this war. Especially with everyone counseling Dany to keep the dragons out of the war. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens in that storyline coming up.
All my allies are gone. I'm losing.
So with Dany taking hit after hit, and her hopes of winning getting smaller and smaller, she's starting to realize that she needs allies, and can't just expect everyone to bend the knee to her, she's going to have to compromise. So it definitely seems like she's going to make a compromise with Jon Snow, allow him to keep being King of the North, be slightly separate and independent, as long as they work together to overthrow Cersei, and then combine their forces and head north. How well this plan will turn out, we don't know, but it's definitely going to be a good first step for Dany regaining some footing in Westeros and chances of pulling her invasion off. It also seems she's getting pretty desperate with more and more of her allies dying, so she's definitely going to start bringing out more of her cards like the dragons, and brutal tactics like killing people in the streets. So we could be seeing some pretty rash actions from Dany, which could lead to maybe a dragon death or a botched attack on King's Landing. I'm not sure, but it definitely feels like something bad's going to happen.
You can count on the Iron Bank as soon as the gold arrives.
It seems like we might be getting a Bronn Jaime Western adventure to go pick up a huge shipment of gold, then defend it, whilst Dany forces tries to heist it on the way. Oh my god, it's gonna be so cool. Now I'm not sure exactly where this is that Jaime and him are at the moment, but it could well be someplace in Essos because time is really speeding up in these last 2 episodes, so pretty much every scene we get is months apart almost. If you guys have any ideas of where you think this could be, tell me in the comment section below, I'd be very interested to hear that. But yeah, it definitely feels like they're going to be putting some kind of little filler Iron Bank gold thing to the side, which is quite interesting. It's actually quite like Bronn and Jaime as a duo, so hopefully they're not the only good parts of the storyline like Dawn, and there's actually some other redeemable characters and plot points in the arc.
Enough with the clever plans.
Oh no, it definitely feels like Daenerys has had enough of Tyrion's plans. Now I've quite liked the relationship between Daenerys and Tyrion, but the whole season it's kind of felt a little bit off. Like Tyrion really needs to pull something off correctly, otherwise he's really not standing on any feet. He didn't really do well in Marine, even though it was kind of out of his hands and he was put in a really bad situation. So that was forgiven and he moves on to the next place. So then he decides not to attack King's Landing, bad decision, leads to the huge loss of the Greyjoys and the Dornish. Okay, next, the Unsullied. They take Castle Rock, this entire plan backfires, leads to the Unsullied being trapped in the castle with no supplies, and Highgarden taken out, they lose another ally. So it really seems that Tyrion is really letting down Daenerys a lot, and his plans keep falling through. So it will be interesting to see if he can redeem himself with another awesome plan, or pulling something off, or if he'll be kind of kicked out of the inner circle of Daenerys and left to the side for the next few episodes. And of course, we get a shot here, of Littlefinger pulling out his blade. This has definitely been foreshadowed quite a lot to be a big thing, but with this shot of Arya returning, and Bran back in Winterfell and his all-seeing knowledge, we can definitely feel his death coming closer and closer. The question is, will he take someone with him, like a Stark or an important figure, or will the Starks get the first strike and save themselves? Okay, so we saw Theon get pulled up on the boat, and the Ironborn kind of disappointed him. But now he's pulling in, he looks motivated, looks ready, and the question will become, will we see him return to a better, stronger character with an arc of redeeming himself and trying to save Yara, or will he try and continue to fail, like he always seems to do? Also, we get a shot here of Jon and Dany. They seem to be in some kind of cave, so maybe they're looking at the dragon glass, or they've found some kind of cool discovery on Dragonstone when they were mining, which would be really nice to see. And then something I thought was quite cool in the way they edited this was a little shot here of Littlefinger's head turning, and then Brienne's sword coming down in an arc. It seems really strange to put some random training scenes between Brienne and Podrick in there for no real reason, unless they're trying to foreshadow a little action there of Brienne beheading Littlefinger. We have seen her once before going in between Littlefinger and Sansa, so maybe she's going to be in the mix there somewhere as well. And lastly, we have Sansa writing another letter. Now it seems like Sansa's letters are very powerful things, so I'd love to hear your guys' theories on what she could be reading or writing or sending to in the comment section below, and I'll join you there for the entire discussion. Otherwise, just subscribe to the channel because I'm putting out a preview breakdown for every single episode this season, so if you don't want to miss out, please subscribe.
Hey, it's Kate.